Sure, the main focus for WWE and fans was the fact that Raw debuted on Netflix this week, but they can't forget that for the second week in a row, SmackDown is a 3-hour show, and they already used up their surprise cash-in last week. So what did they do? Well, they took some very important story threads, wove them together, and wove them throughout the show. These are my assorted thoughts on the January 10th, 2025 WWE Smackdown. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. From Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, wrestling opinion pieces, WWE Premium Live Event prediction and review videos, and assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown. Now, I'm recording this in the evening on the 12th of January, so 2 days after SmackDown. Now, this is my first regular content of 2025. I started off with year in review, top matches, and then I did a special with my brother. We had a discussion about the Raw debut on Netflix, but that wasn't really an assorted thoughts. It also wasn't really a PLE review. It was somewhere in the middle. Check it out. I think it went pretty well. But let's start with this SmackDown. Both threads kicked off with Paul Heyman, then Cody in the ring. I really like how Heyman essentially told Cody that Roman Reigns is going to take the completely normal and understandable path to getting a rematch with him at WrestleMania, i.e. being in the Royal Rumble. And he presented it as some like I have to let you know this is what, obviously that's what's going to happen. But still, I guess the big takeaway from this segment is not only John Cena, but Roman Reigns is officially going to be in the Royal Rumble. I don't think I think Cena might either win in the Elimination Chamber or maybe lose both of those, get eliminated by Logan Paul. That's my theory. Fight him at WrestleMania and then maybe win Money in the Bank. Anyways, regardless, I don't know if Roman's going to win. Maybe The Rock will knock him out and turn heel. Anyways, interesting. A long-running thread started with this, but of course the Cody thread is where we picked up next with Kevin Owens coming out, making a lot of sense that he's right. If Cody had not interfered, Roman probably would have lost that match and would still be dealing with Solo and wouldn't be going after Cody. But I don't think it's really Cody that KO cares about. I mean, he's absolutely right, but he's still deluded. They, of course, fought in the crowd. Great fight. They disappeared, leaving Paul Heyman alone in the ring with, of course, Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, who were sololess. And then that brought out Jimmy Uso. That brought back Cody. So the Bloodline thread was in full effect. And then in one of the advertised main events, which was done by the first hour, LA Knight challenged Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. It was a good match until, of course, there was Bloodline interference. I mean, you could kind of see that coming because earlier in the night, LA Knight had thrown Jacob Fatu out a door or something. I don't know. It was just a way to tie that back in. It makes sense that Knight's not going to win the championship back this quickly, especially if it's not in the main event, though the cash-in didn't happen in the main event last week. But anyways, when I was watching this, I was watching the show with my brother, and I was talking. We had just had two advertised main events, and yes, there was the Tiffany Stratton celebration, but there was no main event match still to come. And of course, this is where we got the main event match: Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. It was a decent match, a good main event, very exciting. And it looked like Cody and Jimmy might win. Cody even said, told Jimmy not to worry about the whole Roman situation. But you know what? I'm not sure that Cody Rhodes at all times is the best tag team partner, because when Kevin Owens showed up, he ran after Owens, leaving Jimmy alone in the ring. Now, obviously, he said he was going to attack Owens at any time, but still, he left Jimmy alone in the ring to lose the match. And the show ended with Cody and KO on the equipment case. Fortunately, the Bloodline didn't take this as an opportunity to continue the beatdown on Jimmy in the ring, because obviously they established Jey Uso and Sami Zayn weren't there. Roman wasn't there. Paul Heyman really isn't that good physically. I think we can maybe cut Cody some slack for this one, but he's kind of proving, Kevin Owens right with him maybe not being the best friend at all times, but still. It's a good way to weave two stories throughout the show, make it the spine of the show. When you got a 3-hour show, you kind of do that. They were already doing that with SmackDown when it was a 2-hour show, but now they're just extending it to 3 hours. So I think they're getting somewhere with this. I think it's good. And those are two really important feuds. The Bloodline angle, even without Roman, physically there. He was part of it. And the Cody and KO angle, it was a good way to hype us for maybe the next Saturday night's main event, or at least the Royal Rumble with that match. And who knows what Roman's going to do next, hype us for the next Raw. I think they did a good job with it this week. Seeing as I wasn't able to get my video out last week, I'm going to take this opportunity to say that Tiffany Stratton cash-in was convoluted as hell, but it was really fun to watch. I'm glad it happened the way it did. Also, props to Bianca Belair for KODing Nia Jax. That was such an amazing move to do at any time, but especially in that context. They, of course, followed it up this week, and honestly, I think they should just make Tiffany Stratton an outright babyface. Maybe they just want one last gasp before being a heel to explain what she did, because she did sort of trick Nia, but she was being like maybe a believable heel or a cool heel like Austin style. Maybe they'll keep her like that, because the crowd still really seems to be behind her. I wasn't expecting a fatal four-way match to determine her number one contender, but once it got started, I had different theories. Oh, maybe it's going to be Nia. They'll fight at the Rumble, or they'll fight on Saturday night's main event, and then Nia will be in the Rumble and Stratton will retain. I like the theory proposed by a number of different people online, but I like it too, is that Charlotte Flair comes back and maybe wins the Rumble and challenges Tiffany, but Charlotte being the heel. So I was thinking maybe it could be Nia. Maybe, I mean, it could be Bianca or Naomi, but that's going to probably have something to do with the tag title scene. My money was on Nia, but I didn't think it was going to be Bayley, not because Bayley's undeserving of a title shot. She was the champion from WrestleMania to SummerSlam. She was a good champion. Just the fact that I'm pretty sure they're keeping Bayley babyface. Who knows? Maybe she'll turn heel with the whole reveal of Jade Cargill. And I was really hoping they were going to make Stratton an outright babyface. But you know what? They could be a babyface and technically still a heel, because the match is next week. The fact that the match is next week on SmackDown, not even at Saturday night's main event, like, it means that I think Stratton's going to retain. Maybe they just want to give her some, credibility, have a win that's not a cash-in before. So people might think that she might lose it back to Nia, or might lose it at WrestleMania, or what have you. I don't know. Interesting booking. That was a really good match, by the way. I'm glad I saw it. I also love Piper Niven's Secret Service garb. And I like how Chelsea won. I mean, it was with a roll-up, which is it's better. I mean, yeah, there was some outside interference before from Piper, but there wasn't directly before the win. It was a good, legal, but still a heelish kind of victory. Although Jey Uso beat Drew the same way too. I don't know how long they're going to keep this Michin thing going. I like Michin, and I could see her maybe winning this championship at some point. But I think maybe Chelsea needs another few. I mean, I guess the fear is that, or the hope maybe is that they're going to go with Chelsea versus Piper. That would be a great feud, but I really love the two of them together. So I hope there's at least another feud after Michin before they go to that. Maybe they could run Michin back at some point. I'm loving Chelsea's United States, being the Canadian with the United States Championship. And even like Americans who like her too. She's doing great. Good to see Las Garza get a win. And of course, I'm okay with Pretty Deadly losing because, well, they always lose, but they're comedic. I was hoping they go babyface and somehow like sort of they're still heelish, but they're adopted by babyfaces like Braun Strowman, and they do the musical maybe as a separate thing on Netflix, not even on SmackDown. Although I don't even know if they can sing, but I guess it doesn't matter because they can dub it over again. I don't think if they brought, as my brother said, if they brought in Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's a huge wrestling fan, to write a musical, it's not going to be for Pretty Deadly. But yeah, Las Garza won, and I was pretty sure that Motor City Machine Guns were going to win as well too. I'm pretty sure they're going to win next week too, because Las Garza might be situational baby faces in this thing. Maybe they're trying to turn them babyface in Olive Legado because they're not really that prominent as heels anymore. But the opponents are DIY. And I don't think at this point they want to risk anyone aside from the fans who like to be contrarian or who just really like them from cheering for DIY. So MCMG are credible opponents. Who knows? They might win the title back. They might bounce it back and forth a few times. But yeah, there was no surprise in that match. I was not really sure about the first match, but I wasn't really surprised either. And next week, or I don't know when it is, but we got MCMG versus DIY, the rematch. So it was a little bit predictable what was going to happen this week with that, but good. It was also a good way to give some people some ring time, people who maybe were in the prelim matches or the dark matches when SmackDown was only 2 hours and they weren't doing two tapings in a row. but good to get them on the show. That you have the threads going through and you sprinkle in these other elements. So I think they've got the formula down for a 3-hour SmackDown. It's not exactly the same as it was for a 3-hour Raw, but it's got to find its own voice. And these were my assorted thoughts on the January 10th, 2025 WWE Smackdown. Do you agree with my takes? Is there stuff I missed? It's possible. It's a 3-hour show. Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. I'll be back with my assorted thoughts on Raw. And then soon enough, we got Saturday night's main event coming up. We got the Royal Rumble coming up. We're almost on the road to WrestleMania. Things are getting exciting, and my content's getting back to regular. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.